9:27. Welcome back, everybody. It's that time of year for workplace performance reviews. Oh boy, and conversations about promotions and pay raises. It can get uncomfortable.
So we are turning to workplace performance expert Henna Pryor to help us navigate and negotiate our way to a better paying job. So good morning, Henna. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, come on. This conversation is not easy. So, I mean, what's the first thing that we should do in trying to approach this conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of mindset work that needs to happen coming into these conversations because the first thing people tend to think is there's a power dynamic at play, right? I want something and I hope they give it to me. So one of the best things we can start with is just reframing this whole thing from being a monologue, I'm asking for something and hope that I get it, into a dialogue. We're going into a conversation, a two-way conversation. It might go the way I expect, it might not. But if we go into it as a conversation, it takes off some of the pressure of, if I don't get what I want, it was a fail.
So how do you, okay, I hear you on that one, right? And when the conversation then goes awry and not the way you maybe expected it, sometimes the employee might get defensive, right?
Yes.
So how do you kind of help with that mindset of like not getting defensive, saying, well, I deserve this?
Yeah, there's two things at play there. First of all, when we get defensive, it because we accidentally came in with a very strict set of expectations.
Okay.
The conversation is going to go like this, and if they respond differently than that, then the whole thing has failed. So the first thing is try to just lower the expectations, because then you can go in a little bit more open, a little more agile, a little more flexible. When we're committed to they are going to respond like X, we're going to have a natural emotional reaction. We're going to get defensive. The second thing is recognizing that people that we're talking to try to get what we want are coming in with a reaction based on the information that they have. They may not have enough yet. They may not know if it's allowed. They may not know if their boss will be okay with it. So understand that they too are in a two-way conversation and try to depersonalize it. It's not always about you and what you asked for. Try to take a breath and slow down a bit.
So that's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Right? So don't go in there like without practicing. Yes. Right? Would that be a good idea to actually run through, maybe look in a mirror? I don't know.
Yes, one of the best ways you can diffuse the awkwardness of these conversations is rehearsing and practicing. And people hear that and they're like, yep, I know, practice makes perfect. But most people going into this type of conversation don't rehearse or practice at all. So the very first time that they say some of these words about these numbers or what they're capable of is in that conversation. It's the first time these words have exited their mouths. No wonder they feel uncomfortable. No wonder they get defensive. So role play with a colleague, practice in front of the mirror, but let these words come out so that those neural grooves in your brain have seen this road before. Don't let it be the first time.
Right, so when you go in there, sometimes these conversations you know what you deserve, you know what you're worth, right? And that's the biggest part of the conversation is knowing what you bring to the job. You may come across confident, right? And you're deserving of it.
Yeah.
You have a lot of pride in yourself and your work, but they might see it as arrogant, ego, whatever it may be. How do you differentiate that?
Yeah, I would say don't worry so much about what they think and come in there sure of what you think. I think a lot of times when people have a fear of coming across entitled, it's because they don't totally believe that they deserve it, right? A lot of people, they're trying to put these numbers out there, but they themselves don't believe that they're worth it, and then they worry, oh, do I come across entitled or arrogant? If you know that you deserve it, you won't worry so much about that. And one way that you can do that is catalog your wins throughout the year. Catalog your achievements throughout the year. Once a week, once a month, write down what did you do today. So by the time raise promotion time comes around, you believe every word of what you're asking for, and you won't have to worry about it.
And have the proof.
Exactly.
Do you go in with a number?
You can. I think what I prefer people to go in is with a range,
Okay.
because ultimately it is a conversation. It's not a demand this, and if I don't get it, it was a fail. It's a conversation. So have a range in mind, have it based in some sort of facts or evidence. What is the market? What have you done in this past year? You have your list of wins already, but have a range and don't be afraid to stick to it. This is something that, again, we have to have that belief in ourselves in order for somebody else to believe that we're worthy of it too.
Do companies most of the time have a set raise, right? It's whatever the percentage may be.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes in asking for more than that, then it's frowned upon.
It can. It depends on the company. Sometimes there are budgets. Raises can cap out at X.
Yeah.
But I have often found, I was in staffing and executive search for 14 years, there can be a budget that is pulled from other places if a valuable enough case is made.
Right.
But we need to be willing to make the case for ourselves because no one else is going to make it for us.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for coming in. Good advice.
Could you just come in the room with the person?
I like to sit on their shoulder the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, little Henna. Right here. All right. Thanks so much for coming in.